Welcome back, Flare community. I hope everyone's doing well. And yes, today we are blessed to be joined by the Fat Cats team for the second episode of the podcast series. So first of all, thank you very much for joining. How are you guys doing?
Very well,
doing great.
thanks.
Thank you very much for having us.
No problem at all. You know, I know many people are excited about this project, and we're going to uncover some details today, and it's going to be very enlightening, I imagine, for the audience. So I guess the best place to start would be an overview of what the Fat Cats collection actually is, because I know you have a lot going on. It's much more than just a generic single one-trick pony NFT. So could you give a brief summary of the Fat Cats project?
Yeah, sure. So just so you guys have an idea of who's speaking, I'm Catechus. So I'm the one who'll be manning usually the DMs on Twitter, or if it's on Discord as a Fat Cat, it's Catechus speaking. So to give you a brief overview, because we'll be spending our time sort of diving into the different parts, you'll probably know already that we've had our Genesis drop of 1,000 actual cats, and essentially we've got 3 more drops to come, which are all leading up to the Catalyst, which is going to be the first art gallery on Flare. So the reason it's so different to this space, and members will have access to the collections that we're bringing on, which will be curated collections of high-end pieces of art, or it could be people from the music industry, and we're bridging the gap between those people and the NFT space. And that's sort of very briefly the overview. Or I'd just like to point out as well that this is on top of being a series of NFTs that you may see had the 3 top sales. So it's got the rarities. We've got some very interesting one-in-ones and a bunch of other things that I think you probably have already noticed.
That's a great summary, and I think that your style, I mean, for those who may be watching who haven't really seen the actual look of these, they're very unique. The style, it's not something that I've seen before. We get cartoons all the time, and we get maybe pixelated images, we get all of these different things, but this is something that is really unique, and you obviously have very talented artists as part of the project. What really inspired you to get this sort of this style?
Yeah, I could jump in there. Yeah, a lot of the work we see today, I think, is quite similar in its artistic style. A lot of it's kind of almost cartoon-like, which is fine. But some of it's kind of very similar in its theme to other existing projects. So we wanted to kind of strive to do something completely different. In terms of the artwork itself, it's like heavily inspired by classical portraiture. The kind of seated pose, the head positioning, the decorative and colorful garments, and it kind of also incorporates elements of realism, like what you see in classical paintings. But there are some elements of fantasy or surrealism mixed in. And I think there's also this kind of underlying and subtle interplay between, classical painting from hundreds of years ago, which we're almost kind of almost reviving in a sense, and mixing that in with this sort of new age of art and technology through NFTs. But I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to that.
Yeah, something I personally love about this, what we're going with here, is I think it's quite fitting of crypto as a whole. Essentially, it's a bit of a contradiction. I mean, you have these portraits that typically, if you're looking through historical pieces, typically that would be for well-to-do people who have a lot of potentially power. And often it kind of can be associated with corruption or things like this. But we've kind of merged that with the internet culture of cats. And it kind of, the reason why it fits with crypto is because crypto is this kind of, it brings accessibility and sovereignty to people. It's essentially a human rights movement in some sense. And actually, that wasn't, my only opinion. It was, I remember listening to a podcast between Lex Friedman and Alex Gladstein, who is Chief Strategy Officer, I believe, at the Human Rights Foundation. And he was saying there's this really cool thing that happens with crypto investments where a lot of people might get involved because of the potential of increasing wealth. And I mean, the thing that you get though with in their chat, or specifically Bitcoin, but you can apply it to all of them, is this idea of freedom goes up too, as people as the value of this stuff goes up and it gets integrated. So you end up with this thing where like that greed, if it is fueled by greed, gets kind of, it also boosts human rights long term. And so I feel like this is represented in what we put here by merging the two. And I feel like that's kind of, you know, a powerful message and something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and I think you're right. The sense of like crypto and like this liberation and self-sovereignty, you know, it's I guess normally reserved for the wealthy and these kind of portraiture. And it's great to just have a piece, to be honest. You know, I do have some myself. And actually, Catechus was mentioning some of the unique pieces that are available. And, you know, we see Hugo Filion here, the CEO of the Flare Networks and co-founder. You know, he picked this one, the General Sphinx. And, you know, I really like that you have some of these unique items, you know, these one-of-one heroes, as you've called them. And I mean, we've got this one here, the ancient one, which is pretty cool. And, you know, the cat of 10 lives as well. I think that's a really great one too. I mean, it's great that you have these unique pieces merged in with the collection because it adds a little bit of rarity and a little bit something different. So that's great. Before we proceed with the next set of questions, I'd like to invite everyone who's watching the stream to have a chance to win a fat cat or a fat leopard even. You know, you guys have generously given up one of these for someone who's watching the stream as part of, I guess, a competition, if you will. And the conditions are basically just to retweet this tweet. And I am going to post it in the chat. So for anyone who's interested, this is on my Twitter page. All you have to do is give it a quick retweet. And at the end, we're going to pick a winner. And yeah, that's that. So I guess things that people are really excited about is this roadmap, because owning a fat cat is not the end of the story, right? You know, you have these subsequent airdrops. So I'd love for you guys to maybe expand on the roadmap here and what is to come for holders.
Yeah, sure. I can go on that one. So yes, this is really the beginning. These NFTs are essentially keys into membership of the club, and specifically the Catalyst. So, you know, after the drops are finished, it's really the beginning. It's the way we think of it. And this is, you know, our work is very much on that. But in terms of the roadmap we have there then, and the shorter term, in the next few months, we started with the Fat Cats. There were 1,000 of these NFTs, a unique collection. After this, we're going to be releasing the Fat Leopards. And the idea is, or the way it's set up and will work, is that Fat Cat owners will be airdropped the Fat Leopard. So that means 1,000 of the Fat Leopards are going to be going to the 1,000 Fat Cat NFT holders. And then we're going to have an extra 2,000 available up for grabs. Then we're going to move from Fat Leopards to Fat Tigers. So now holding a Fat Leopard gives you a Fat Tiger. So you can see how it kind of goes down in stages. But at that point, because, you know, 3,000 Fat Leopards have been allocated, that means 3,000 of the Fat Tigers are going to those holders. But then there'll be another 3,000 up for grabs. So we're always kind of allowing new people to get in, but rewarding the ones who kind of gave support early on. And that means that if you're an owner of a fat cat already, you know, you're the lucky one or one of the lucky ones because, you know, you were there first. And so will the fat leopards, still very early. But you've already unlocked, if you hold, your road to getting the gold membership. So this is why we keep talking about how a fat cat is your ticket to the gold membership. The final drop will be the Fat Kittens. This is the one with the most available. At this point, I think 6,000 are going to be already allocated to prior holders. But then, yes, there'll be another 4,000 available. So, and then after that, it's going to be really about unlocking the doors to the Catalyst, which is where we can all have a great party and enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk about the Catalyst a bit more in a minute. But, you know, it's great, this concept that you're rewarding the loyal holders who got in early, And anyone that's holding a fat cat right now, they have the gold membership, providing that they don't sell. So it's almost like a 4-in-1 package, and that's excluding the benefits of the catalyst as well, which like I say, we'll talk about in a second. Something that I did want to actually ask, and I've heard this a little bit in my Discord too, is the styling of the future airdrops. So the fat leopards, the fat tigers, and the fat kittens, are they going to be this same sort of style that we can see here, or is it going to be different?
Yep. So as the designer, it's mostly down to me, the direction which we go for the future ones. But yes, the future airdrops and designs in the entire series, my plan is to keep them with this kind of same overarching style and theme throughout. Keeping these elements of realism and this influence from classical painting, which I love. However, for each collection, I may decide to kind of add in some new traits or attributes that stand out in some way, to keep things interesting and to test my creativity, essentially, keep it fun for me as well as an artist. But these are always still in keeping with their overall theme essentially. In general, though, I quite like the idea that each collection in the series is kind of a step up in some way. Whether that's adding in new attributes or some subtle elements of fantasy or surrealism as a kind of addition or an accent to the existing theme.
Yeah, I really do welcome that. I think, like I said, because this is so unique and you don't really see this kind of style, I think it's personally refreshing to continue that style and have this consistency throughout the collection. So we have these memberships here, the gold membership, the silver membership, bronze membership, and the standard membership. I'd like to know, what kind of membership benefits that people can actually receive as a holder. And we are going to talk a little bit about the catalyst soon. So would you mind expanding on some of these other incentives or rewards as part of the membership?
Yeah, no problem. It will make a lot more sense, I think, when we can get into the catalyst itself. But what we can say at this point is that the benefits will include essentially a wide array of different aspects to this. So we can include whitelist spots, pre-sale access with, for example, discounted rates. We'll have giveaways. We'll have royalties access as well to pieces of art. We're also going to be looking at fractionalization, so dividing up a one very expensive piece of real life art, for example, and making this available to our members. So the important thing to say is that all members will have access to the catalyst. The tiers will mean that according to your tier, you'll have more or less of these benefits. In other words, it's likely that the quantity will change, but the actual benefit itself will depend on the collection, because we want to make sure that each collection is unique. Each collection gets the time that it's due. These are not just going to be sort of chucked out. They're going to take a lot of time to put together, and it's going to be an experience. And for that reason, our members will get benefits that are therefore linked to that. And of course, the important thing is that we have put in there that we've promised 10% of all the profits from the catalyst to go to our members. So you can expect that also to be distributed in some way according to tiers. But again, we're going to give more details when we get closer to the actual catalyst.
It just seems like the gift which keeps on giving, No, it's really great. And the catalyst and the gallery, it's a really interesting concept. And there has been rumblings of a historical figure which you may have made a partnership with recently. I know this has been a hot topic for many people. I'm not sure if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it has. I was going to mention this after the catalyst, but so we're pleased to announce it here, actually, that we've been having some long conversations with the family of Malcolm X, who was a leading human rights activist in America. Most of you probably have heard of him. It's worth Googling him. if not, or even if you have, there's some very interesting, things about the movement that are currently going on. He's a huge historical figure, and we're pleased to be at the point where we can actually make this public. So this will be the first human rights NFT drop that we know of. And the catalyst, which is a bit I'm going to go into next, is going to be very much about, the experience that you get when you walk through the gallery. So a lot of this is going to be about understanding who he was, his legacy, the movement, what's currently going on, and actually being able to interact as well with, for example, his family or the foundation, all leading up, of course, to the first drop, which we'll go into more detail in the future, but which will be around some very personal items that are linked to him directly.
That's absolutely crazy. Such a high-profile historical figure. I don't even know how you went about forming that type of partnership, but congratulations. That's something really substantial, and it sounds like it's going to almost be like a educational thing as well. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, it might be worth me just going quickly into the catalyst as well, just so you have an idea of what this might be. So essentially, the catalyst is the name of the art gallery that's going to be sitting on Flare, which is about bridging the current art world in both the traditional art space and also other mediums. So we're looking at music as well, for example, and we're bridging those worlds with the worlds of NFTs. So to start with, we've got a 3D space, which we're already starting to visualize at the moment, which I'm sure Jay Pegasus will take us through in a little bit more detail. But essentially, from one common area in it, we will be going into each collection as they come along. So for the Malcolm X one, for example, it's going to be educational, it'll be interactive, it will be about drawing people in to this space who have not been in there before. And you can imagine that there's some very, very big names in America who are part of this movement, who are also in NFTs. And we're currently in conversations with those kinds of people to see whether they would be willing to help push our project to a much, much wider audience once we get that going. So essentially, once you're in this space, we've built it so that you can interact between each other. You'll have an understanding of the kind of tiers that you've got, and you'll be able to learn a lot more about the collection and what you're about to mint before you go ahead as the momentum builds. And I think this is where the membership benefits come in to their own, really, because it's about the fact that no matter how much it builds, we'll be rewarding our community with access to this before it goes public. So you'll be able to kind of learn about it, discover, and then hopefully mint and see where that goes.
Yeah, if I can add something there too. I mean, we get this really unique opportunity now with these virtual spaces, essentially a metaverse. It allows you to design your space with a lot more flexibility than you traditionally would in the real world, because obviously the rules are different. And that means that we can design the experience around what we're showing, or what the topic is, or what the message, the emotions, and all of this. And it can be extremely immersive, and it's going to grow. I mean, immersion in metaverses and immersion are just going to keep going. I mean, that we're already again at the beginning there. And so with this partnership, this relationship we have, and this what we're going to be putting forward with Malcolm X here and their family, will be it won't be like a traditional way you might experience these kind of pieces. It's going to be a lot more, when you say educational too, it's not going to be just text on the walls for you to read and get a feel and understand a bit more about who the person was and their message. It's going to be a lot more about stepping into that world, and I think that's going to be something that that's going to be the basis of the catalyst and all the different essentially exhibitions that we put on. So you can think of the catalyst entirely as a malleable virtual space. It's going to be changing all the time, depending on what we're showing and who wants to be showing what and their message. But yeah, and then in the middle of that though, like what connects it all together, we kind of think with our designs include this central heart of the catalyst, which is going to be a lobby space where we're exploring the possibility of making it a community space where people can get together, meet, socialize, in some sense, you could think of it like our Discord, but a virtual space where everyone can get together and discuss and connect. And I think that is very important, because that's what art is also about. It's not just about like seeing nice things and then maybe, yeah, it's much more about triggering thoughts, triggering discussion, and we want the space to accommodate that too. So really excited with what's going to come.
Yeah, that's such a unique concept as well. Everyone knows or is becoming familiar with the metaverse and the various possibilities. And like you say, it's much more malleable and dynamic. It takes a fraction of a second to paint the wall a different color in a metaverse than it does in an actual gallery. And it's great that I guess you're going to adapt these based on the art that you're actually showcasing. So yeah, that's really interesting to me. So you say that it's hosted in the metaverse. So how is progress with that? And are artists able to contact you to get a spot in the gallery?
In answer to your last question, we're not currently accepting applications from artists. The gallery itself will be highly curated and will be actively approaching already established artists. Yep. Which we've been doing. Our main focus has been on talking to artists and prioritizing, introducing and bringing big names to the Flare ecosystem and to the Catalysts. In parallel to that, we've already started work on the initial designs and concepts for the gallery itself, and we're looking to bring on more team members soon to kind of speed up that process and launch the gallery as soon as possible. I happen to have a background in architecture and 3D modeling, which has proven really useful in designing the ideas and concepts around the gallery itself. I was lucky enough to go to a university that was heavily focused on conceptual design, which lends itself well to designing imaginative 3D spaces and metaverses, which are essentially a space designed completely by imagination with no limitations. So perhaps Jiggles, maybe you want to talk a bit more about where the gallery itself is hosted and the technical details behind that.
Yeah, for sure. So as Katika said, and the Catalyst is going to be the back end effectively is the Flare blockchain. So in terms of hosting, essentially that's our hosting. Progress is solid. As JPEG said, we're firmly in the design stage, which is really important because you kind of need to almost conceptualize how it all fits together, and we went through that in the last question. So we're making really good progress there. I think we can all see it, and the designs are coming, are looking really great. And now we are also in parallel moving on, taking first steps in development. We have a lot of key considerations there and key challenges. I mean, the metaverse as a topic or as a concept is still quite early, and there are a lot of objectives there that we want to set ourselves up for as well. One key one there is interoperability. So the idea that you would be able to access one metaverse from another. So you could think of the Catalyst as one small metaverse in the sense that it contains an environment and it essentially has a certain amount of, it's a virtual space, right? But then there might be others, and people are going to be developing these things for a long time, and we want the Catalyst to be accessible from others. So that's something really important for us in our development. So, on a longer, I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, another huge one actually. I wanted to say this here is just accessibility. So we really want to make sure this thing is accessible to all. So it's really important that as we develop it, we're going to be making something that anyone can access, provided they have an internet connection. And typically that means you'll go for something browser-based. So yeah, we've got lots of important questions to answer, and they kind of can conflict with each other. But we're really, really excited, and we're quite inspired and want to follow the Flare motivation of connect everything. That's the same thing we want to do here: connect people with art, and then connect what we're doing with the development that will continue on Flare.
Yes, it's a great way to look at it, and We have a member in our Discord. His professor is one of the moderators, and he says that we've all almost become art collectors now. Now that these NFTs have come about, people who didn't really have this access to all of this absolutely beautiful artwork. It's so easily accessible these days that we've almost all become art collectors, which I found pretty funny. So yeah, I guess I'd like to know, what are the next steps for the Fat Cat project? I guess you guys have the rollout of the various NFTs to come out, and yeah, what can people expect from you in the medium to long term future?
Yeah, so as you just mentioned there, the immediate next steps for people who are listening and following and sort of wondering what this means for them is definitely the drops that are coming up, because the drops are the founding blocks of the Catalyst and of the membership, and it's what will mean that people can take part in all the different pieces of information that we're dropping essentially now about the Catalyst. So what I'm really looking forward to talking about is the first Malcolm X drop on the Catalyst in more detail. Things that I can already talk about now is the fact that we're just finalizing his ancestral home in a 3D model. So you'll be able to walk around basically and get a feel for where he lived and what that was like. And, like the other two in the team have already mentioned, this will be a very interactive space. So we're actually looking at having ways of interacting with the family, sort of AMAs with them directly. It's worth remembering that, this is a huge movement. It's a very big foundation. It's got links with Harvard University. It's got links with sort of institutions all over the world, including in Africa. So we're really, really busy with that, as well as our drops. And that's just one of our collections. So I want to spend time going into detail with that in the future. I think we all do. And it's worth knowing that, behind the scenes, in the same way that we were talking with Malcolm X's family until we could go public, we're actually looking at the next one, which is more to do with music and having an immersive musical experience. We hope we're talking to some incredibly big names. We're going to be doing any drops. We're going to make sure that they fit to the brand. So this means that they will be culturally significant, even if it's a huge pop star, for example. So there is someone we're talking to in particular, for example, who's award-winning songwriter who's behind many of the biggest names in the pop world today. And I really hope we'll be able to announce more on that. As soon as we get the green light, I'll be jumping onto that. So all of that's to come. But in the meantime, I'd say our day-to-day is focused on getting these leopards and making sure that we can get as many people as possible to get a chance of getting a leopard, so that they don't get swallowed up. So that's our immediate step, I think.
Yeah, that's very curious to see what you guys have up the sleeve. It sounds like you've got a lot going on, and I mean, even just the Malcolm X announcement is huge. But if that's the caliber of the people that you're collaborating with, I'm sure many people, including myself, are very excited to see what else you've got. So I guess now would be a good time to pick the winner for the leopard, right? And I guess while I'm doing this, do you guys want to talk about the whitelist spots?
Yeah, so for anyone who is listening and has made it all the way to the end, we wanted to give away some whitelist spots. So we're going to do this very simply. Essentially, if you can DM us straight away, so hopefully you're following us on Twitter at the Fat Cats NFT. If you can DM us within the next 10 minutes, then we will send you a form in due course so that you can get added to the list. So just make sure you do that within the next 10 minutes and we'll add you to the whitelist. And then beyond that, we won't be able to accept anybody, I'm afraid. We wanted to give you kind of treat at the end for making it this far.
That's very generous of you guys. So yeah, I guess let's draw this winner to see who's won an actual Fat Leopards NFT. And there we go. And they're actually repping the Fat Cats profile, which is always great. So congratulations to you, N30N, with a little sun there. I'll drop you a message after the stream's ended, and you can get your address and get that sent over to the Fat Cats. So I have actually seen some great questions in the chat. So maybe we can look at some of them if you like. What do you think?
Let's do it. And good job, Neon.
Yeah, no, congratulations once again. So I guess let's start with this one by Integrity. He asks, is this project being funded solely by the NFTs that you've sold, or is there outside funding?
Gosh, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm hearing silence, so I'll go ahead. So it's not being funded solely by the NFTs sold, but I would probably have to say we're not going to make the other forms of funding public just yet. I think there's one that you can probably have a guess at, which we'll be announcing, I'm hoping, this week. So we're looking to get some, our next wave is looking to be very generous. But I don't want to go into more detail until I've been given the green light fully. So the answer is no, basically.
But I would add there that it is true that the funding that we raised through these NFT sales are going into development of the catalyst. It's a big endeavor, and it's really great that we're able to fundraise in that way. And hopefully, well, for sure, what we're going to be building is going to be worth it all.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it, and I imagine, like you say, it's I guess it's a worthwhile investment. These people who are invested in the fat cats, they are helping the cause and helping you guys to develop such great things, and yeah, it's really great to see. I do have another question here, which is pretty good, from Nanobuster, and he asks, how did the team come together for this project?
So, yeah, do you want to go for it?
So, yeah, I guess me and we're all friends. That's the start, I guess. Me and Jiggles own a company, which we've been working on for a couple of years now. We design, digital products, consumer-facing products, and we've been learning how to create products in a kind of efficient way by talking to customers, learning from them, and creating customer-centric products essentially. So we're very used to working with each other. Catechus, has proven to be a great extra. So yeah, in terms of how we know each other, we're all great friends, and me and Jiggles have many years experience working together as well.
Yeah, and we all, of course, gelled, as I'm sure many of our listeners do too, with interest in Web3 blockchain, because not everyone's interested right now. They will be, but not yet. And so we've always been bouncing ideas and talking and learning more and seeing what's possible, and it all sort of fits, it sort of fell into place when we all sort of had the same conclusions. So it was quite natural to team up and start building together.
And it's worth just mentioning as well that although we're not going into huge details about the backgrounds and stuff, we do all have complementary skill sets, and I mean, you probably have a guess at which one has what, but we've got some very solid development skills. We've got designer in there, and VC funding and startup building all in the mix. So it makes a lot of sense to the team, and I think we've had discussions with other people, and I think that's been reflected in that. So the flare backing and things like that have been after those kinds of discussions, where I think it's come together very nicely.
Yeah, and just to go back to the point of having this bonding experience through like blockchain, the love of blockchain, it's definitely an emerging thing. Like you say, for me personally, there's not that many people who are interested in it. So once you do surround yourself with people who are interested in it, it's definitely something that everyone can relate to and have that bonding experience. We have a question here from TF, and he asks, I guess, why Malcolm X? Are you guys inspired by him? Or was it just a good target market because of the way society is progressing?
So I think, by the way, hello T-Field, good to see you. Of course we're inspired by him, or in general inspired by anyone who promotes change and positive change. Because I really do feel that that's what's going on here as well. There's like a grander discussion around everything that's going on in terms of blockchain technology and bringing this forward. You can see so many amazing projects that are already making it a reality. And so we really got this opportunity there to do something brand new. You know, we're not just going to be taking, we're not taking it as our first, very ambitious, but taking it as our first exhibition that we put forward. It really puts us in a position where we have to live up to it, if that makes sense. And I think that's a really exciting challenge because we get to, you know, push forward that broader discussion about how we create this technology for everyone. So yeah, it's definitely an amazing driving force for us too. And we're really excited to do something great there.
Yeah, nice. I just saw this in the chat as well. We've got Neon over there. He's in the chat. Very grateful by the looks of it for winning that. So again, on behalf of the community, thank you for hosting this giveaway as well, and all the whitelists. Something for clarity here, which I saw. If you guys just want to clear this up, and this is from Mark. If you own a Fat Cat NFT, you're whitelisted for a white leopard, because that's not strictly true, right? You're not essentially whitelisted.
It's not. Yeah, you know, if for every fat cat that you own on the date when we'll take the snapshot, which is to be announced, you'll receive an airdrop of a fat leopard. But that's it. So 1-to-1. So if you've got, you know, per cat, you'll get a leopard as long as you hold it on that specific date. Beyond that, you need to be on the whitelist, or you'll have to mint it when it goes public. We are planning on expanding the whitelist for this drop. So that hasn't completely started yet. And by the way, there's another 2 minutes for anyone who wants to be on the whitelist to DM, but I've got a load of them, and we will be responding in due course, but don't worry, it's all been saved, it's all there. So yes, we will be expanding it. So it may be a very good idea to get on the whitelist for people to have a chance to be able to mint it before it actually goes public.
Perfect. Well then, guys, I don't know if you're happy to wrap things up. Where can people find you on social outlets?
Yeah, so our Twitter is up on screen right now, and I believe our details are in the this stream's description. So yeah, come join us. We have an amazing community on Discord, and we're going to be, that community is going to be growing, and it's the first place where we normally announce things. So for sure, come join our Discord, meet everyone, and yeah, that's probably the best place to talk, especially directly to us. We're very much, you know, we keep our eye on it. We're around. We have great moderators too. We just brought them on. They're absolute legends. So yeah, really positive, fun space.
It's very busy in your Discord, I must say. It's very refreshing. So yeah, I guess the plan is now, or shortly after the stream, we're actually going to be heading over to the Flare Community Discord for anyone that wants to join. We're going to be heading over to this community stage here, where you can have the opportunity to come on the stage and ask some questions yourself. So there is also a link to this Discord if you are in need of an invite. So with that being said, do you guys have any final closing comments?
I have one, just to say massive thank you to everyone listening in. Massive thank you to our community. You know, we really couldn't do this without you, and it's great talking to you. We have this ideas and feedback channel. People have been fantastic at getting in touch and putting forward their ideas. It gives us, we end up doing these like 3-hour calls to discuss everything. It really is a lot of food for thought and really helpful, and really nice to have that out, you know, the community voice there. So more of the same. I mean, it's really going so good, and a massive thank you from us. You really inspire us.
And a thank you to you as well, Flare Community, for having us on. You know, it's an honor to be your second ever podcast. So you know, thank you very much for that. And you know, we love your content, and you know, the way you present your videos and everything is really, you know, great, and you're doing a lot to help the community. So much appreciation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say so. And honestly, the honor is all mine, and it's great to, I guess, inform the community of these really promising projects. And yeah, I'm very, very honored that you came up today, and I think it's been a great podcast episode. So with that being said, I guess we can wrap things up. And again, for those who are interested, we are going to be heading over to the Discord if anyone wants to jump in there and ask some questions. So yeah, until next time, we're out.
See you guys.
See ya. Thank you.
Mission Control, we have liftoff. Liftoff.